Hey guys, Axelmyth here, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 games of all time. Now, what kind of happened to make this video is that, well, first off, it's actually one that I have wanted to make for a very long time. I literally have this notebook here that the script is in, except this is what I'm going to do to it. It's horrible. What made me think of making this video is, honestly, I noticed recently that I have now 100 subs on this channel. It didn't pass me by very much, because I've had this channel for 16 years. The other channel that I run with my Let's Plays, I've had it a little less longer, but that one reached 200 a while ago, and I didn't do a 100K or 200 special for it. Probably could have, should have, but it just wasn't in the video schedule. And basically this video is to thank all of you for subscribing and to let you know there is more on the way. I've had one heck of a year. This year has sucked so much that the Nintendo Switch 2 flew me by. I watched the Direct and I've listened to a couple things about it, but and I've even had a break-in. If you notice that my 3DS collection isn't up here front and center, or my Switch collection, that's because they're gone. And there's so much more gone. I would like that to be its own video, but maybe I'll just discuss it when I'm like doing a Let's Play or something. But it's not for this video. This video is my top 10 favorite video games of all time, and let's get into it. Just so you know, these are in no particular order or anything, but I want to start with Daytona USA, specifically the arcade version, but it's for the Sega Saturn, and I think that there was a port to Xbox 360 or something like that. I don't really recall, but now Daytona USA has just been in like every single arcade I have ever been to, and I've gotten in like third place once, and I finished the race like twice. Otherwise I usually time out, but there's just something about Daytona USA, even on the Sega Saturn, or I'm specifically talking about the arcade version. But there's just something about that game that just leaves me wanting to keep playing it. That is like one of the first arcade games where I was like, you know what? I want to get good at that. And that doesn't really happen with me for arcade games. Usually I play, a round of Donkey Kong and I'm just kind of done. Or maybe I'll play 2 or 3 rounds of Donkey Kong and I'm just kind of done. But I haven't really committed to being good at Donkey Kong. Whereas Daytona USA, I was like, I want to get good. So every time we go to Galloping Ghost, I really try to improve with Daytona USA and Virtual Racer. But I'm not talking about Virtual Racer, I'm talking about Daytona USA. So if you haven't played it, go find a way to play Daytona USA. Alright, now that I got the one that I literally cannot show out of the way, I want to preface that if I have footage already of the game, I will put it here, but if not, it's just gonna have to fly by, because my capture card, along with some of the games that I mentioned earlier, my capture card is gone. But I already had footage of the next one, which is New Super Mario, what the heck? Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U and 3DS. Now, something that I really liked about this version specifically was just how similar the two really were. I think I like 3DS a little bit more than the Wii U version. The Wii U version to me was lacking a lot of content, but like I just remember training for days and days and days on the 3DS, and then I finally challenged my older brother to a match on the Wii U version. And granted, he hadn't played the Wii U version a lot, but he had a 3DS. He had the 3DS version too, so I don't know how much he was playing that, but I'm sure if he trained like I did, he would outclass me in every way. He'd figured the game out faster than I could. But anyway, I just remember four of us, my wife included, we all were just fighting in Super Smash Brothers, and I finally started beating him in Smash Brothers, and that was just so crazy to me because that had never happened before. And I still to this day can take him in Smash Brothers Ultimate, and unfortunately the Wii U and 3DS ones aren't really relevant. Back when I wrote this video, they kind of were, but not really. But yeah, these are still my favorite Smash Brothers, mostly because of because this is before that they changed Link from his original design, or his Twilight Princess design, whatever, to the Breath of the Wild design with the remote bombs. I just hate that. But I've gotten used to it over time, obviously, but I was not a fan at first. But, yep, the Wii U version. Just in case you haven't really noticed, these are in zero particular order. No particular order. I'm just kind of rolling these off. I'm just here to have a good time. The only real one that matters is number 1. All the rest of these are just kind of in here somewhere. But the next one is Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. I don't know if you can read that, but it says Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. And I'm going to put it right beside Budokai 3 because Budokai 3 is the better game, 100%. But this is where my heart lies. And the reason why is because I just remember playing the GameCube version. This is the PS2 version, GameCube version's gone. I just remember playing the GameCube version so much. Like, I was trying to 100% that, and the PS2 version has a bug that's actually easier, but yeah, I just remember so many hours spent with Vegeta and Gohan screaming, "Eat this! This is nothing! Eat this! This is nothing!" And it was ridiculous how much I played Budokai 2, and I don't think I could ever beat this on very hard still. And then I remember doing the same thing for Budokai 3, but I had a better time beating Budokai 3. I never quite got that 100%. There's a lot of the caps. I think I got to like 90% capsules, whereas Budokai 2 on the GameCube, I think I got to 80, but that's because I just got so bored of the board game at some point. But this one, I at least got to 90% or something like that. Maybe it's closer to 88, 89. But I got really far, but there's just some of the capsules that I just cannot figure out how to unlock and whatever. But the story mode, there's nothing to really say about the story mode in Budokai 3. It's typical Dragon Ball Z. I think the biggest issue I have with this one is that it's all just still frames of the characters. And the story mode for Budokai 2 here, I think it was definitely interesting what they were trying to do with it, because I think they were trying to do like a traditional fighting game where you don't have every single Dragon Ball Z character to exist. You just have like the standouts, and then trying to create like a story kind of based on the original, but it also kind of took form of its own thing. And I really liked that, and some of the board game mechanics were really interesting for the story mode. Yeah. I think the GameCube version is the better version because it has the alternative tournament, but whatever. But yeah, Budokai 2 and Budokai 3 both make this list because they're just like right next to each other. I don't think you could really have one without the other. Shovel Knight for the Wii U. I would probably prefer the 360, the Xbox One version over this. Pretty much because of the Battletoads stuff. I'm a little nostalgic for the Battletoads. I just remember playing Battletoads with my older brother. But whatever. This game is like a mix between DuckTales, Zelda 2, Mega Man, and Super Mario. And I don't know how else to describe it than that. It's just a very solid platformer, pretty difficult at times, but not difficult enough to make me rage quit like Mega Man 7. There's a bunch of different items in this game that do a plethora of different things that help you out in different ways, and it's been so long I can't specifically remember what item is my favorite, but I do remember that it's also kind of like, it's definitely like a Mega Man where it kind of expects you to go back and play the stages multiple times to find more treasure and to find secrets within them, and that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I really like Shovel Knight, and I really hope that a sequel comes out, whether it be 32-bit, whether it be 64-bit. Fingers crossed for 64. Another one I don't have footage for. We're going to go with Lego Star Wars 2. Not the DS version. Not the GBA version. But the GameCube version that I don't have anymore. Specifically about the second one over Complete Saga, though. Because the Complete Saga, I will fully admit, just like with the Budokai games, the Complete Saga is the better game. But there was something charming about just having the 3 movies that I think gets kind of lost in the Complete Saga. Especially, I think it's honestly the character creator too. Because, I mean, the character creator as well. Because the character creator in the original 2 was a lot more limited, and you had to think around certain holdups, and there's just something charming about that. And I think it also has to do with the time in which I played it. I think I was like 11 or 12. I was right around there. I was really big into Lego Star Wars. I just remember being at my grandparents' house, who my grandma sadly passed away this year. But I just remember being at their house, and me and my little brother trying desperately to 100% to platinum Lego Star Wars 2 and failing so hard at it. We got all the characters though. We did do that. We just didn't 100% the rest of it like I was hoping. But, Lego Star Wars 2 though, still really good. I'd just say Complete Saga is probably more worth your time. Alright, so we knew that this was going to make the list at some point. So I'm just going to throw it right here. Star Wars The Force Unleashed. I don't really know what to say about this game that I haven't already. Other than I remember it being a lot more of a platformer, and granted this version is a lot more of a platformer than the Wii version, but I remember it being even more of a platformer than it really is. It's actually a lot more like a hack and slash beat 'em up, but just a giant fan of this game, and just the way that it looks, somehow it still holds up till today, and I can't really get enough of it. Now that I have a PS3, I really want to find the Ultimate Sith Edition to finally play the DLC stages. And I think that'll be my last playthrough of Force Unleashed for quite a while. So the next one is Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Bought this pre-storage, so that's one of the reasons why I still have it. That, and I actually still have all my NES games too. They didn't touch those, thank God. But yeah, so anyway, Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 for the Sega Genesis. And this is one of those, another one of those instances where I will fully admit that Sonic 3 and Knuckles specifically, is much better. But first off, Sonic 2 is one of the first games that I owned. Back in the day, I think me and my older brother both put like $10 toward owning Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Genesis. So we had partial ownership, whatever, and basically I bought him out of his half. It was, actually I think he just gave it to me, because he was like, you know what, it's like, what, 20 bucks? You don't even have to buy me out of my half, I'll just give it to you, I don't care anymore, and that was really cool. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has just always had, like, that special place in my heart. I don't really know why, but the stage design is just incredible. It's just a solid game all the way through. And then Sonic 1 is right up there too. It's just something about that first game that I find so charming. Not necessarily the special stages in this one or in Sonic 2, honestly. But I just can't think of a stage in Sonic 1 that I dislike, personally. Even Labyrinth Zone, I think like Act 3 of Labyrinth Zone is the worst one on here, and I literally cannot think of a stage in Sonic 2 that I don't like. They're just amazing games, and I'm glad that Sega keeps re-releasing them for new people to get into the series. I feel like that they're ignoring some of the other good Sonic titles, like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, but we're not talking about that. So I lied. 1 and 2 are going to be like the ones that truly matter here. But so the next one I want to talk about, mostly because I do not have footage. I'm kind of trying to do like one with footage, one without footage, one with footage, one without footage. But this one I don't have footage for. And that is Gauntlet Dark Legacy. This is Gauntlet Legends on the 64. This is a stand-in for Gauntlet Dark Legacy on the GameCube. That is it's another game that, like, I feel kind of shaped me as a gamer in some way, because I just remember playing it so much with my family, and you know, I have it drilled in my brain. Kill the dragon, kill the dragon, kill the dragon, and to the, you know, Viking song or whatever. And I just remember having so much fun with my family playing the game. And the funny thing is, though, is still to this day, I've technically beaten the game, but I've never gone all the way through it. There are some levels that I have never seen before, and I hope to rectify that someday. But yeah, Gauntlet Dark Legacy, it's a fun time. You know, it's a fun time, especially if you have a couple friends to just, you know, use a couple hours with or whatever. This next one's going to be on like any list I make, and that's Super Mario Bros. 3. Again, I prefer this over Super Mario World. I know that Super Mario World, there's like more exploration, there's more color, but there's something charming to like the NES limited palette and graphics of Super Mario. There's just something so charming just about Super Mario Bros. 3 in general, and this game has a lot of secrets in it. It's just solid platforming pretty much all the way through. I just can never get enough of this game, personally. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what you want from me. So the last one, unfortunately, I have 0 copies of anymore because storage break-in and all my 64 games are gone. I have 3, and if you've been following me on Twitter, you'll know that one of my friends actually gave me 3 64 games this past week. Not as a birthday gift, but just because he knew that my 64 games had gone missing. But anyway, the last game is obviously for the Nintendo 64, and that is Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. This box is actually from my parents' house. I want to go on a giant tirade, but mostly what it boils down to, I will fully admit, is nostalgia. I remember specifically using this game as kind of like a sandbox to just walk around Hyrule and go explore, even though, you know, there isn't a lot of exploring you can really do in this game in retrospect, which is probably why I liked playing like the completed file a lot, because, you know, especially at first, there's nothing you can really do. As an adult, though, going back to this game, it's still one of my favorite. This is like watching Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope to me, or like watching Toy Story, where Toy Story to me is basically like music to my ears for some reason, and same thing with Star Wars. There's just a warm, fuzzy feeling I get from just from one of those two movies being on. Ocarina of Time is kind of like that for me. Better put, Ocarina of Time is like that for me in video game form, and I don't know how else to explain it. The story is pretty basic. Hero's quest. The little boy sets out on a grand adventure, and it gets bigger than he could possibly imagine, honestly. It just feels like a very grand quest compared to some of the other Zeldas. And I can't really explain that one, but that's just the feeling that this game gives me, is just this grand quest. And I'll admit that it hasn't aged well and the graphics have aged worse, but you know, there's something about Ocarina of Time that's just very special for a lot of people, and whether you agree or not, that's up to you. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. I hope you comment your top 10 favorite games. That's what I want to hear from you guys, is what are your top favorite games? And subscribe if you are so inclined. Like I said, there are videos on the way. The only hang up there is the capture card. Need to be able to afford one, or need to be gifted one. Beyond that, I would like to thank you all for subscribing to my channel, and for those who have stuck around, I hope you keep sticking around for the upcoming content. And follow me on Twitter if you're not, because I'm planning on doing a lot of like my more pickup stuff for Twitter, and honestly my Facebook page if you want to go like me on Facebook or whatever. And I guess that does it for this video, guys. See you later.